Sukhdev Thapar, a great revolutionary intellectual. The tall son of India, a witness to the atrocities committed by the British Empire to our country, Sukhdev Thapar continued to participate in revolutionary activities, shedding fresh blood in the struggle for the victory of India's independence. He was a brave man who rocked British imperialism. He is one of the most revered figures in India's freedom struggle, who played an important role in energizing the fight against the British, and his sacrifice still resonates among our people. His execution spurred many young people to follow the path of the revolution. He participated in some revolutionary activities together with Bhagat Singh and Shivaram Rajguru. However, Sukhdev is seen as the aide of Bhagat Singh or his companion, a little discussed figure in the struggle for freedom. His contributions are still underestimated because he is not like the praised romantic heroes in the history of our nation's struggle for independence. It should be noted that he was the brain behind most of the revolutionary activities and manifestations, even if not active in the center of the same. Sukhdev, along with Bhagat Singh and Rajguru, proceeded quite cheerfully towards the gallows while chanting their favorite slogan, Inqilab Zindabad. Formative years. Sukhdev Thapar was born in Ludhiana, Punjab, British India on 15 May 1907 to Ramlal Thapar and Rali Devi. He belonged to a Hindu community in Punjab and was raised by his uncle Lala Achintram after the death of his father. He grew up witnessing the exploitation and brutality of Britishers towards Indians. Instilling the flames of revolution in his mind, he showed a defiant spirit from an early age. During his school days, he refused to salute British officers who visited his school. It was the arrest of his uncle that led him to revolutionary activities demanding freedom from colonial rule. Sukhdev, while in college, studied various world revolutions, especially the Russian Revolution. He joined National College in 1921 and came into contact with revolutionary-minded young people including Bhagat Singh, Bhagwati Charan Bora and Yashpal. Sukhdev was one of the members of Naujawan Bharat Seva, which was born from Bhagat Singh in 1926. They also established the Lahore and Bal Bharat Sabha Students Association for undergraduates and students respectively. He had participated in many activities to promote national awareness among the nation's youth in the Punjab region. Revolutionary activities. Hindustan Socialist Republican Association (HSRA). In 1928, the British government established a commission headed by Sir John Simon to report on the political situation in India. Several Indian activist groups opposed the commission because it did not include a single Indian among its members. The result had been inciting different factions working in opposition to a common goal. In response to rising anti-colonial sentiment in 1928, the HRA became the HSRA. Sukhdev was a member of the HSRA and organized revolutionary cells in Punjab and other parts of northern India. He was the head of HSRA's Punjab unit and is credited with making the decisions. Sukhdev participated in many revolutionary activities such as a hunger strike in prison in 1929. He is better known for his attacks in the Lahore conspiracy case. He is best remembered for his involvement in the assassination of the Deputy Superintendent of Police, J.P. Saunders, on December 17, 1928 by Bhagat Singh and Shivaram Rajguru, executed in response to the violent death of veteran leader Lala Lajpat Rai. In response to Gandhi's call for peace and the cessation of the armed revolutionary struggle following the Gandhi-Irwin Pact, Sukhdev made it clear that the HSRA and the revolutionaries supported the establishment of a social republic, continue the fight until they reached their goal. As a strategist and political thinker, Sukhdev argued to Gandhi that peace and compromise is only a temporary truce, meaning just a little break to better organize our forces on a larger scale for the next war. He also criticized Gandhi for not providing any specific reasons to stop the revolutionary movement and argued that mere appeals of sentiment do not and cannot bring much benefit to the revolutionary struggle. It is interesting that Bhagat Singh, Sukhdev, and Rajguru, in their latest petition addressed to the governor of Punjab, used these exact words to describe the state of war between the Indian masses and the union between imperialism and capitalism. These lines were apparently inspired by the opening lines of the Communist Manifesto of Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels, first published in February 1848. Lahore Conspiracy Case. Political parties boycotted the Simon Commission and a wave of demonstrations across India emerged. In Lahore, Lala Lajpat Rai led a demonstration against the Simon Commission on October 30, 1928, when the brutal Lathi charge claimed his life. The death of Lala Lajpat Rai once again led the HSRA to take the route of murdering the British. To avenge the murder of Lala Lajpat Rai, Bhagat Singh, Rajguru, Jai Gopal, and Sukhdev conspired to kill police chief Scott. But they shot the DSP, J.P. Saunders, who died on the spot. Bhagat Singh, Sukhdev, and Rajguru fled Lahore immediately. Sukhdev was later prosecuted in Lahore conspiracy case when he was captured after a bomb was dropped on the Delhi congregation. Sukhdev was the first defendant in the 1929 Lahore conspiracy case, the official title of which was Crown Against Sukhdev and Others. The first information report of the incident, filed by Hamilton Harding, Senior Superintendent of Police at R.S. Pandit, Special Judge in April 1929, referred to Sukhdev as accused number 1. He described him as Swami Aka villager, son of Ramlal, Thapar Khatri caste. After the attack on Central Hall in New Delhi, Sukhdev and his accomplices were arrested, convicted, and sentenced to death. In prison, the HSRA revolutionaries launched the famous hunger strike for the rights of political prisoners that made them immensely popular throughout India and beyond. Bhagat Singh, Sukhdev, and Rajguru were sentenced to death. Execution. On March 23, 1931, Thapar was hanged at Lahore Central Prison along with Bhagat Singh and Shivram Rajguru at the age of 23. Their bodies were secretly cremated on the banks of the Satluj River. Here are the verses that Sukhdev and other revolutionaries died singing. वतन की आबरू का पास देखें कौन करता है, सुना है आज मटकल में हमारा इम्तिहान होगा, शहीदों की चिताओं पर जुड़ेंगे हर परस्म होगा, वतन पर मिटने वालों का यही बाकी निशान होगा, कभी ये भी दिन आएगा जब अपना राज देखेंगे, जब अपनी ही ज़मीन होगी और अपना आसमां होगा. The executions received extensive press coverage, especially as they took place on the eve of the annual convention of the National Congress in Karachi. B.R. Ambedkar, writing in an editorial in his daily Janata, accused the British government of the decision to carry out the executions, despite strong support from the revolutionaries. He believed the decision to execute the trio was not made in the spirit of real justice, but rather because British governments led by the Labour Party feared a conservative backlash at the need for appeasement in Britain. Legacy. The National Martyrs Memorial is located in Hussainiwala, where Sukhdev, along with Bhagat Singh and Rajguru, were cremated. Martyrs' Day, that is Shaheed Divas, is celebrated on March 23 in their memory. The remembrance and homage are shown at the memorial. Shaheed Sukhdev College of Business Studies, a constituent college of the University of Delhi, is named after Sukhdev. It was founded in August 1987. Amar Shaheed Sukhdev Thapar Interstate Bus Terminal is the main bus terminal in the city of Ludhiana, the birthplace of Sukhdev. Sukhdev, an intellectual but just an accomplice of Bhagat Singh. Sukhdev is a great freedom fighter who rocked the British Raj, but there is relative alienation that highlights the fact that revolutionaries like Bhagat Singh and Azad dominate the imagination of Indian revolutionary events. However, Sukhdev was an intellectual. He was the brain of some revolutionary activities and demonstrations. But he was not at the center of the heroic acts that accomplished. Therefore, it makes him a less discussed person in the freedom movement. Apparently, Sukhdev remains an accomplice to Bhagat Singh in the popular public imagination of revolutionaries spread in history textbooks and cultural arts. However, it cannot be denied that all HSRA revolutionaries were full-fledged idealists and activists. Conclusion: the immense contributions of great revolutionaries that the nation witnessed cannot be forgotten. They will be remembered for life. Sukhdev Thapar was one of them, a true martyr who sacrificed his life for freeing India from British dominion. His ideologies and activities played a vital role in energizing the fight against British. His executions still spur many youth to selflessly serve their nation and to take up revolutionary path when needed. He, indeed, is a great inspiration to millions of men and women, instilling courage and patriotism in their heart.